after him, including Chris Evans with his little moustache. Now, I loved Chris Evans in this. I thought he brought so much life to this movie because it was pretty dull and boring without him in it. Hey guys, welcome back to Canon Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX ND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I'm really sorry for the lack of video content the past couple of weeks, but it has been pretty hectic for me. Luckily for you, I have some great reviews dropping within the next couple of days. And today I will be reviewing the new Russo Brothers film, The Gray Man, which will be dropping on Netflix. Now, I was lucky enough to go watch this in theaters. And of course, you want a big action spectacle on the big screen. And for the most part, it did work, but I felt the storyline to be very generic. It felt like they were pulling from a CIA operative storyline from the Bourne series and kind of tweaking it a bit. I mean, there's always a gray area when it comes to being like, working for the governments and, the CIA, the FBI, all of that. Like, we've watched plenty of films to understand where, the profession lies and where the fine line between good and bad kind of fall into. So we get that with Ryan Gosling's character. And for the most part, he's good. He's good. But for me, what bothers me so much is that they keep putting Ryan Gosling in these very internalized roles, like these characters that show very little emotion, stoic, not really kind of feeding into anything that's happening with these other characters, very bland. And I don't like when he plays these characters. And I understand that that's what the role entails, but the leading character has to have something. And he wasn't really bringing anything to the character, but that's not entirely his fault if he has to play it in that way. Part of the reason why I didn't like Drive, part of the reason why I didn't like First Man is because he wasn't giving anything. And you're probably like, Amanda, but it's such an emotional role because it's internalized and it's everything that's going on in the inside of his mind and blah, blah. I'm like, that's great. Some actors can pull it off better than others. I personally think that Ryan Gosling is a hilarious person. I think his comedic talent is better than him, pouring into these serious roles. And I really love him in The Nice Guys, Crazy Stupid Love. He's very playful. And I'm really excited to see him as Ken and Barbie. I think that when people play to his strengths, that he has great banter, he's kind of off the wall, he's kooky. I think that's where he gets, his full range of his abilities. I think that he's really strong in that case. But when it's a very reserved and internalized role, that's where he loses me a bit. And everyone loves Ryan Gosling for many reasons. And one of them is that he's just so quirky and lively and really just drops some great one-liners that we've all grown to love and expect from him. For me, that was the main reason why The Gray Man just didn't work for me. I didn't care about him as his character. I didn't care. I thought that it was just really bland and he was coasting through, all these action scenes were happening and then the plot would kind of get lost. And the story is pretty simple. It's very Jason Bourne, the CIA operative who trusted, the system, trusted his group of people, his coworkers, uncovers some secrets. And then obviously because he finds out these secrets, then they get all of these assassins to come after him, including Chris Evans with his little moustache. Now, I loved Chris Evans in this. I thought he brought so much life to this movie because it was pretty dull and boring without him in it. And I know what you're thinking. It's a Russo Brothers film. How could it be boring? Guys, it's boring. It's boring. If I am an audience member, I'm not even engaged in the storyline, and all I'm waiting for is the next action scene, and the action scenes aren't even that strong. What am I watching it for? It's a movie that you're going to put on in the background for 2 hours because Chris Evans is in it, Ryan Gosling is in it, Ana de Armas is in it, Jessica Henwick, Regé Page, they're all in it. Billy Bob Thornton just happened to be in it. And my girl, Julia Butters, who deserves so much more than what she gets because she's so freaking talented. The cast is amazing. There's no story. There's no nothing driving this. It's not engaging to the point where I'm those action scenes were so good. Some of them were. I think that the Russo brothers know how to craft action scenes, That's great. But you go from watching like the paintball episode in Community, which was so good, and then you go to the Winter Soldier, which is so crispy and polished and tight. And I love the direction in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Civil War was still, it was good. It was polished. Infinity War wasn't the same hand-to-hand combat that we witnessed in Civil War and Winter Soldier. Same thing with Endgame. You had to play to like different strengths of these heroes, but the action was pretty polished for the most part when it was like tight, and it was hand-to-hand combat. I thought it was really strong. But then going into like Cherry, the Gray Man, really just losing its touch. They're losing the actual clear vision of these action sequences, because once you put too many action scenes in there, it's hard to kind of build up to the finale, which was pretty anticlimactic in all honesty. So yeah, was it bloody? Sure. The sound design was fantastic. You hear those bone crunches, those punches, everything. Like you really heard it and you're like, ooh, like you audibly say those things while you're watching it because it's just so gruesome. But at the same time, there's too many action scenes. So for me, it's like there needs to be some sort of balance. Like you have to make me worried about your lead actor, but like you kind of gave him plot armor, whatever the hell it was, and you just made him really strong to the point where like those hits were like connecting, but nothing was really happening to him. Like he felt nothing, like he was a robot. So it was a lot of things like that where it wasn't really believable as an action film. I know what you're thinking is like, but all our action films believable? I think the best ones are believable. I think they give you that anticipation, that high level anxiety when you're watching those combat scenes, and the choreography is just always so clean and crispy and you can see what's happening. And I think that if you make an emotional connection with your lead, with your protagonist, with your antagonist, with supporting characters, you make those like that emotional connection with the story that's supposed to be engaging to carry it to the end of this film, then those action scenes will have stakes. Higher stakes. You're going to feel like this person's going to die. Oh no, this is going to happen. I didn't care for a single person in this movie. I cared for Chris Evans. Guess what, guys? I didn't want the villain to die. That's pretty funny. Out of all of them, I just didn't want Chris Evans to die. Why? Because he was carrying the whole movie on his back. No offense to Gosling, no offense to Ana de Armas. They had banter, but it wasn't enough screen time. Gosling ate up all the minutes. That's fine. He's the lead, but it wasn't engaging enough. I was bored. I was so bored. I'm like, when are we getting to this scene? When are we getting the action? When are we getting to the last half hour where everything's going to go like bing, bing, pow, and then people are going to die? Secrets are going to be even revealed. And like, you don't even register character names. People are introduced that you really don't care about. And it's just a very generic, and I don't want to say lifeless, but it feels like there's nothing in it. It's emotionless for me. I didn't really connect with any of these characters. But yeah, I feel like I'm completely butchering the Gray Man. Chris Evans is the only reason you should be watching this. His mustache looks so good on him, and he plays a fantastic villain. His one-liners are great. He just didn't have enough screen time. And there were other villains in this film as like, do we really need to have more people in this? I don't think so. I think if it worked as a trio formation with Ana de Armas helping Ryan Gosling to defeat Chris Evans, I think that would have been stronger and cut out all this excess. But yeah, I gave The Gray Man a 2.5 out of 5. Let me a 2 out of 5 at this point after I said all of this. Literally just watch this for Chris Evans. He was so good as the villain. I need him in more roles like this where there's meat and that he can kind of play a different character. And it's funny because we're always used to seeing him play like the good guy, Steve Rogers, Captain America. We're always used to that. So when he kind of goes outside of his box, like in Knives Out as well, and now in The Gray Man, it's a lot of fun to, watch him enjoy putting on these performances for everyone. So I don't know, guys, like the Russo brothers really just missing after Endgame. I don't know what to do with that. I didn't like Extraction either. It just felt like a really jumbled mess. The editing was really bad. It was all over the place, especially within the action sequences where you would have wanted something a bit more clean cut to actually see who was fighting and like make it more cohesive, I guess, as an action scene. But it just felt really messy and all over the place. So if you guys enjoyed The Gray Man, please let me know in the comments below. I'm really sorry. I didn't want to like butcher it this badly, but it was dull. It was boring. And I love a good action movie, but I need a decent story. to carry me through, a believable story to make me care for these characters. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.